You know, 2022 felt like a comeback year for Thailand. Flights were full again, hotels were buzzing, and travelers from all around the world were excited to return after those long, quiet pandemic years. But fast forward to 2025, and things just feel a little different. The lights are still here, the street food, the nightlife, the energy, all of it's still alive, but the vibe has changed. Thailand isn't that ultra-cheap paradise it once was. For many travelers, it's still beautiful, still exciting, but it's not so easy on the wallet anymore, and not as friendly for those long, easy stays it used to be known for. So today, let's dig a little deeper and talk about what's really changed between 2022 and 2025, and whether Thailand is still worth it in 2025. Before talking about prices or exchange rates, let's look at the bigger picture. Because something deeper has been shifting in the past year. Not just numbers, but the rhythm of travel itself. Official reports show that tourist arrivals dropped by around 7% compared to last year. It doesn't sound dramatic at first, but when you walk through Bangkok's main areas or down Beach Road in Pattaya, you feel it. There's space again. In 2022 and 2023, it was chaos. Airports packed, streets loud, everyone desperate to make up for lost time. But by mid-2025, that urgency softened. You still see tourists everywhere, but not shoulder to shoulder. Not like those post-reopening months when every seat on every flight was sold out weeks ahead. Now you sense a quieter rhythm. Many regular visitors are waiting, watching the currency, the hotel rates, wondering if the value will ever feel the same again. For them, it's not that Thailand suddenly became expensive, it's that the balance between comfort and cost has shifted. What used to feel effortlessly affordable now needs a bit of calculation. So let's start with something everyone notices first. The hotels. When I stayed in the same Bangkok hotel back in 2022, it was around $21 a night. Nothing fancy, just a clean, mid-range room in the city center. It was comfortable, simple, exactly what most travelers looked for. Fast forward to 2025, the same room now costs roughly $26 a night. That's a jump of around 25 to 30%. And that's before the high season rates kick in. It doesn't sound huge at first, but over 2 weeks, that's $70 to $80 extra for just one person. And remember, that's just the room. Add meals, transport, and the small daily extras, and the difference quietly grows. It's not about luxury getting pricier, it's the mid-range comfort zone that's moving up. And that's where most travelers feel it. Not because Thailand became expensive overnight, but because that easy affordability it was famous for is slowly slipping away. But hotels are only one piece of the story. Once you step outside your hotel, the real test of rising costs starts showing in the simple things, the moments that used to feel effortlessly affordable. Take massages, for example. A basic foot massage, the kind you find on almost every street, still sits around 200 to 300 Thai baht. That part hasn't really changed, and it still feels like a small luxury that doesn't break your wallet. But if you go for something premium or one of those special massage experiences, the prices have climbed. Back in 2022, a higher-end massage or special massage session cost about 2,200 Thai baht. By 2024, it was closer to 2,900 Thai baht. Now in 2025, it's reaching 3,300 Thai baht, roughly 50% more than just 3 years ago. Remember, these are the basic starting prices I'm talking about. The same goes for nightlife and entertainment. Not everything skyrocketed, but the premium side quietly stretched. In Bangkok's nightlife, especially at rooftop bars, sky lounges, and upscale clubs, you can feel how the premium side has climbed another level. Before 2022, drinks already carried a 10% service charge and 7% tax, but you could walk in, order a beer, and enjoy the view. Since tourism returned, that model quietly changed. From 2023 onward, more venues started adding minimum spend policies, 1,000 to 2,000 baht for a rooftop table or poolside seat, and the same automatic charges on top. A cocktail that once cost 350 baht now runs 450 to 600, and a simple beer can touch 250 or 300 in the high-end spots. Tribe Sky Beach Club, for example, publicly lists its minimum spend rules, and Octave Rooftop Bar added similar policies in 2024. Meanwhile, the smaller local bars and open-air joints, they're still friendly, still cheap, still the Thailand most travelers love. What's changed is the threshold. The line between casual and premium has moved upward, and that's where most visitors start to feel the squeeze. For a weekend trip, it's just a slightly higher bill. But for longer stays, those quiet upgrades in prices start adding up fast. And before even landing here, the price changes often start long before you touch Thai soil. Back in 2022, flights into Thailand had finally recovered after the pandemic lull. Airlines were competing again, and you could find return tickets from London to Bangkok for around $580 to $600. From the U.S. West Coast, round-trip fares hovered near $700. Those prices felt fair. Global travel was back, but not punishing. Then came 2023 and 2024, when fuel costs stayed high, and the budget airlines that once filled Thailand's skies hadn't yet rebuilt their full routes. That competition gap quietly drove prices up. Now in 2025, a London-Bangkok return often shows $750 to $800, and U.S. routes that used to touch $700 can push past $900. Nothing outrageous, but enough that you start your trip already spending more before you've even left the airport. Even regional routes tell a similar story. A hop from Singapore or Kuala Lumpur that once felt like pocket change now costs 20 or 30% more on average. It's partly fuel, partly inflation, partly airline economics. But to a traveler, it's simple math. The trip that used to feel spontaneous now needs a little more planning. And that's the pattern you keep noticing. Not sudden shocks, but small, consistent bumps in cost at every stage of the journey. Currency strength always decides how expensive a country feels, and Thailand is no exception. Back in October 2022, one US dollar could buy about 38 Thai baht at its strongest point. In September 2025, that same dollar gets you closer to 32. On paper, that might not look dramatic, but it changes everything when you're traveling on a budget. In simple terms, your dollar now buys roughly 15% fewer baht than it did 3 years ago. The Thai baht itself has grown stronger and continues to hold firm, reflecting a steady post-pandemic recovery and investor confidence in Thailand's economy. So while you might think, oh, prices haven't changed much, your exchange rate quietly says otherwise. Combine that stronger baht with local price hikes, and suddenly your meals, hotels, and weekend splurges all feel heavier on the wallet. Meals that were 70 baht now sit around 90 or 100. Coffee that used to be 50 baht now averages 70. It's not shocking inflation. It's that slow, creeping climb that travelers notice when they've been here before. And what's interesting is that even though the exchange rate looks stable compared to global currencies, for visitors who remember paying less just 2 or 3 years ago, Thailand now feels different. Not unaffordable, but no longer the effortless bargain it used to be. The country still gives value, but that cheap paradise feeling, The one that drew backpackers and long stays for decades has quietly faded. When you spend some time here, you start to sense a shift, not just in prices, but in the overall travel mood. From my time here and the conversations I've had, the mood is different. People still come for the food, the beaches, the nightlife, and the kindness, but they're slower to book long trips, more cautious about tourist prices, and more deliberate with their budgets. It doesn't feel like panic, more like quiet adjustment. Some shorten their stays, others pick smaller cities or less touristy islands. Thailand isn't cheap anymore, but it's still worth it. It's just no longer the go-to destination for living like a king on a mid-range budget. That subtle shift is what you feel in the atmosphere. These changes hit short trips, yes, but they've quietly reshaped the long-term travel scene even more. For years, Thailand was the dream for digital nomads, retirees, and people who wanted to live comfortably on a modest budget. It was easy. Good apartments, great food, reliable Wi-Fi, beaches just a few hours away. You could work remotely, live well, and still save money. But that equation doesn't balance the same way anymore. A condo that rented for around $400 a month in 2022 now goes for $550 or $600, sometimes more if it's near the city center or close to tourist zones. Electricity bills have gone up, daily essentials cost more, and housekeeping, something most long stayers used to take for granted, now charges extra. Some landlords even prefer short-term Airbnbs now because they earn more from weekend visitors than monthly tenants. On top of that, visa rules have tightened for certain categories. It's still manageable, but it's not as effortless as it once was. You now need more paperwork, more renewals, and in some cases, higher proof of income. For retirees or digital nomads who came here for low-cost comfort, these shifts matter. Thailand remains cheaper than most Western cities, but the margin, that generous gap that made it unbeatable, has narrowed. It's still a great place to live, but not the obvious long-term bargain it used to be. To be fair, this isn't something unique to Thailand. It's part of a much bigger global pattern. Since 2022, travelers everywhere have been feeling it. In Europe, Japan, even across Southeast Asia. The world simply got more expensive. Fuel prices went up, airfares stayed high, and when tourism bounced back, hotels and restaurants all over the world had to recover what they'd lost during the lockdown years. Inflation hit at the same time, and every country adjusted, sometimes quietly, sometimes overnight. Thailand just happens to be part of that same wave. It's not that the country suddenly became overpriced, it's that the rest of the world caught up. For decades, Thailand stood out because you could live, explore, and enjoy great comfort for a fraction of Western prices. But when global costs rose, from energy to imports to tourism operations, even Thailand's advantage began to shrink. Today, it's still affordable compared to Europe or Japan. But the difference is smaller now. And that's why travelers who came here before notice the change most, not because it's bad, but because it's not as cheap as they remember. The phrase, cheap Thailand, doesn't really fit 2025 anymore. Now it's more like reasonable Thailand. Still a good deal, still great value, but no longer the unbeatable one it used to be. So, why does all of this matter? Because it's not only about spending a few extra dollars, it's about how that change quietly shapes the kind of travelers Thailand attracts now. For a long time, Thailand was known for balance, rich culture, tropical beauty, friendly people, and everyday affordability. It was one of the few places in the world where you could enjoy good comfort without worrying too much about money. That mix, value and experience, is what made Thailand iconic. But when prices rise, and when minimum spends and stronger currencies start showing up, the type of visitor naturally evolves too. The spontaneous long stayer becomes the short-term holiday maker. The budget backpacker might pick Vietnam or the Philippines instead, and the traveler who does come here now tends to plan more, spend deliberately, and choose quality over quantity. It's not a bad thing, it's just a shift in who Thailand appeals to. The country is slowly evolving from a budget traveler's paradise to a mid-range destination that values experience and comfort over low cost. And maybe that's natural. Every travel destination matures, and Thailand, in its own way, is growing up too. The charm is still here. The people, the food, the spirit, they haven't gone anywhere. It's just that what once felt like a secret, affordable paradise has now become a polished, world-class experience. Still amazing, just no longer hidden. After seeing all these changes over the past few years, I've realized something. It's economics, currency, and global demand all blending together. Thailand hasn't lost its charm, it's adjusting to a new era. If you come expecting ultra-low prices, you'll be disappointed. If you come for experience, culture, and comfort, it's still one of the best countries in Asia to travel through. The key now is planning, picking the right area, avoiding tourist markups, and booking smart. Thailand still rewards awareness. The real test will come this December. That's when Thailand usually shines. The Christmas season, the New Year celebrations, the months when the country is at its busiest and brightest. December is when you truly feel the pulse of tourism here. If prices stay high and the crowds don't return in full force, it'll confirm that this quieter phase isn't temporary, it's the new normal. But if the hotels fill again, if the beaches get busy and flights sell out early, then maybe this slowdown was just a correction, a short pause before the next big wave of travel begins. Either way, by the time the year ends, we'll know what Thailand's new travel rhythm really looks like. For now, it's in transition, steady, adjusting, waiting for balance. And that's what makes this moment so interesting, because we're seeing Thailand evolve in real time. So, in the end, it's not really about cheap or expensive. It's about how Thailand is evolving and how travelers are adapting along with it. So, is Thailand still worth it in 2025? For me, yes, but differently. It's not about chasing bargains anymore. It's about balance, comfort, and planning. Thailand is growing up as a destination, and so must the traveler. The streets are still here. The smiles are still here. And the experiences, they're still world-class. Just don't expect 2019 prices. Thanks for watching. If this video gave you a clearer picture of what travel feels like in Thailand right now, please give it a like and share it with someone planning their trip. You can also explore my other videos for more on Thailand's travel life, culture, and hidden spots. Thanks for watching. This is World Travel Insider. See you in the next one.